Coach, you have the expectations going into the season. How are you keeping the outside noise away from the guys on the team?
Well, we don't shy away from that. Our guys are really good guys. They work hard. We've not done anything, so we have a lot to prove. It's preseason polls, as we always tell them. It doesn't matter where you picked; it matters where you finish. But I guess it beats the alternative. But we really don't feel any pressure with that. We don't shy away from it. We're concentrating on each and every day, and we've got a good group. We feel like we'll have a very good team.
Even with the work still to do ahead, last year at the Valley Tournament, you said you needed more pieces, and you were still building. Do you feel like even with the work ahead, you're in that much of a better position going into this year?
Yeah, I think last year was important from the standpoint of getting a win in the Valley Tournament against a program that we have a tremendous amount of respect in, and just especially for the guys that are in the program. I think the new pieces are all very important, but yet I think the guys that have been in the program, in particular that junior class that that have logged a lot of minutes since their freshman year, they've taken steps. They've gone from 13 to 17. We need to take another big step. And I think if our new guys can help like the new guys helped a year ago, we'll be in good position.
The kind of practice you're doing now, these couple of weeks, how different is it from last year's at this exact same time?
Boy, last year we were excited, and we felt like we could take another big jump. It didn't happen. And our roster changed during the season, but we felt like we were heading in the right direction. But it's a different group. As I said, there's just more experience, in particular from those juniors. They've been in a lot of Valley games. It's a good group. We've got very good leadership in the upperclassmen. So practices have been very competitive. We've got a lot of bodies, but last year at this time we felt like we were moving in the right direction as well.
What do you concentrate on in the next 3 weeks? I mean, is it just figuring out where guys are for minutes, get people in shape, or do you start working on different things?
That's a good question. And getting back to your prior question, I think the difference is that we've got more carryover, so things don't take as long to teach. And then when you have guys that have done it, they really help the new guys. And we've got some new guys out there, but they help that. But really just keeping it pretty simple with this group. And we have to, I thought last year we made some strides in rebounding the basketball. We have to continue that. We have to get better at taking care of the basketball and not turning it over. And then continue to improve defensively. But they're competitive. They really compete. Practices have been very good up to this point.
It's a whole new look to the Valley. I mean, this is a whole new Valley deal. And do you think it Bears time? This is the time for the Bears?
Well, I hope so. I mean, regardless of who was here, we felt like we've improved, and I'm sure everyone feels like there's an opportunity. Clearly, adding Valpo is a very good addition. We had a guy drafted last year. This past season, Alec Peters, so they've had a lot of success, but we feel like we've got a good team. We've got an opportunity to make a big jump, and that's what we're trying to do.
Obi talked a little bit about Reggie Scurry and how just that competition, the rebounding, the athleticism. Is that something you've noticed right from the gates, that Reggie has been able to compete athletically and with the speed?
Right. Well, we've got more big bodies, so clearly for a guy like Obi, that's a good thing, because now Obi has been awesome in practice. I mean, he's been dominant. And I think because of that, or why that has happened, is because he's going against guys that he's got to come to practice against every day. Reggie is doing a great job. Reggie's going to be very good for us. He's athletic, he's strong, he's got a long wingspan, and he can make shots. So the competition amongst the big bodies, that's been terrific. And guys really have to produce and be ready to play each and every day.
So at that position, obviously, you feel a lot more comfortable with the depth, come regular season time, or?
Well, I think Reggie can move around. I think Obi can move around. I feel much more comfortable with our depth at those two positions. Really, we don't really have, I guess you could say Tanvir's a true center, okay? And Darian Scott's going to be that 5. But those other guys, I think they're just forwards that we can move around, and I think they can play both positions. But so the competition and the depth there is much better.
Obi stressed the importance you've been put on rebound. Is that something you have been doing?
Yeah, well, I thought we made strides last year, but we're challenging Obi to continue to take that next step, because I think Obi can be a dominant rebounder, and he is starting to do that. So we made tremendous improvements rebounding last year. We want to continue that trend.
That's all I talked about, so I think he's got the message.
Yep.
And Jared just talked about how he believes his confidence has really grown over the summer. Is that something you've noticed in his play and practice, or?
Yeah, and Jared Rhodes is gonna. I think the world of him. It's great to see young men grow and develop. He deserves a lot of that credit with the work he's put on the floor, but I also give a lot of credit to the staff. They've done a tremendous job. But he's just been through it. You're generally not very. You're not as good as you can be at something if you've never been through it. And all of these players come in thinking, oh, they've got it figured out, and then they go through the season and they realize how different the transition can be. He's been through it. He did very good things for us last year, but he's a totally different person and player now. He has a chance to have an outstanding season, and you can see it. He's comfortable. He's with all these guys. We've just had them for a year, so now you grow closer with them from a relationship standpoint, with the staff, with the players, with his surroundings. He has a lot of talent. We expect big things from him.
Obi talked about the leadership of Alizé. There seems to be a mock draft coming out every other day. He goes to these big-time camps, and still he deflects everything, makes it about the team. What kind of guy is he? What kind of leader has he been?
Well, I mean, Alizé he competes. And I think, number one, that's what, if you talk to the NBA personnel, that's what they're looking for in guys that compete at all times. Obi has shown great leadership, the best leadership ability that he has up to this point. Obi's been terrific because he's been through it. But I think you mentioned the mock drafts. It's a positive thing that a player's getting mentioned, but the reality is the only one's opinion that matter are the NBA personnel and not the mock drafts, because that's not the NBA personnel's opinion. But yet it's a positive thing. And if you talk to NBA personnel, it's all great that guys' names are on mock drafts, but ultimately it will come down to how a player produces. And we have great belief that Alizé will produce because that's what he does when he plays. But he does deflect a lot of that, and he's humble. And as we've told him directly from the NBA personnel's mouth, it doesn't matter what the mock draft says. Those are people that are on the internet that are educated to make those guesses, but they're not writing the checks. So you still have to go produce and continue to get better. And we never have a problem with Zay. He really works. He's humble. He works really hard at it.
With that said, with the mock draft situation, you're going to get the polls coming out.
You were on one, Dan.
Wow.
They had you as a late second rounder.
That's right. Yeah. That was a long time ago when there was 2 leagues.
Right. That was in the baseball draft, right?
Now, just you guys are going to be, when they pull out the Valley preseason poll, Alizé probably going to be player of the year. What will you tell the guys going up to St. Louis when you come back about putting that in the right perspective?
Well, I mean, if we had done it before, if this group has done it before, then maybe they could stick their chest out a little bit. But last time I checked, Illinois State was 19-2 overall in the league last year. They're the returning champs. You've got a program in Northern Iowa that has done it consistently on a national level. There'll be a lot of very good teams. As I said, we're not shying away from any of those predictions, but ultimately, we've got a group here that understands, while it's nice for publicity and all of those things, you still have to go produce. Very much like the mock draft. It doesn't matter what everyone's saying. You have to go produce, and I think we've got a group that will produce.
What are your expectations this year?
To be really good. I think there are times when you when you come into a season, you maybe know that you're going to be scratching and clawing, and that's what this profession is. You're scratching and clawing, and you're trying to get the right players, the right combinations, the right locker room, and I think this is clearly the best group we've ever had from a talent standpoint. And I think what excites me the most and the staff the most is they just want to be coached, and it's really a good group. So we have high expectations. I don't put a number on it or put a limit on it. We have high expectations, and I think we have a chance to be a very, very good team. And I'll also say this, last year a team like Illinois State, who went 19-2 in the league and had as much experience returning as I've seen in this league, they lost some games early in the season. It happens. It's hard, but yet we want to play very good basketball, and we want to have ourselves in prime position for when the league starts, and then hopefully peaking at the end of the year.
So do you see anything but a championship as success? What do you see?
Well,
as
I see
success?
like guys graduating and doing things right as success. I mean, obviously we're in the profession to where you have to win games, and obviously championships are also a positive thing. But I really haven't looked at it like that. That's what we're trying to do. If we don't do it, could we still have a successful season? If you win a bunch of games and guys are successful on and off the floor, sure. But we're trying to win a championship. There's no doubt about it. But if that does happen, that's a really positive thing. If it doesn't, I think you'd have to ask me that at the end of the year. Were we successful? Because you can still be successful in other areas.
What's the transition back into the team and into the fold for Ronnie been like?
It's been good. It's been an adjustment. I think when you talk about expectations, I think about him in particular because he has not been through a Valley season. Now, he was very good for us up to the point when he left. I think we were 11-4. He had played in 2 Valley games, so he has never been through a second semester of college basketball. And but yet Ronnie's a guy that really understands what's going on. He's doing a nice job for us, and I think that for us to be a good team, like adding that piece, adding Ronnie, who's been familiar with the program, that's really important.
And so what do you see as his role? Is that something where he's going to insert right back into the lineup? Or
Well,
is that
I think you got to earn it.
Right.
Number one, he earned it last year. We were a smoother operating machine with him out there. I mean, that was clear. I think we only won 6 games after he left the team, but yet he makes everything run a lot more smoothly. He puts guys in position. I think that's his role. He's a point guard. He can score, but yet he's a very good facilitator. He understands how to move the pieces.
And it seemed like anytime, when he was playing still, anytime the offense kind of went through a little bit of a lull, he was the one to maybe get it back going, got the ball in the guys' hands where they needed to be.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
right. That's
so
right.
now with a lot of talent, like even more talent onto the roster, how does that?
You're exactly
Right.
right. It doesn't just have to do with him scoring
Right.
baskets. If the offense was in a lull,
He gets,
he may not get the points, but he's a reason why we're getting the points. And I think he really understands how to direct traffic out there, and that is clearly very important for a team to have someone like that, rather than me out there yelling all the time. The other thing where I think it has helped us is when we moved Jared Dixon to the point last year. That was a great growth opportunity and period for him because he did some very good things. And I think both of those guys out there together, they really can play off each other and be very successful together.